I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. A House Judiciary Subcommittee held a hearing on clemency and the Office of the Pardon Attorney last week. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee concluded that she believes there's, quote, bipartisan support for a response and for an answer regarding clemency. She also pressed a witness on how using clemency would, quote, right the wrongs of a tough crime era. Listen to how William Underwood, a senior fellow at the Sentencing Project, responded.
Mr. Biggs, do you have, I do have some concluding remarks. Mr. Biggs, you have concluding remarks. I yield to you at this time.
Madam Chair, thank you. I'm going to forego my concluding remarks because of the vote. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to the witnesses.
Thank you as well to the witnesses. And let me again, I do have some concluding remarks. Let me thank Congresswoman Presley, Mark Osler, Professor Osler, Professor Barkow, Professor at one time, but a CEO and founder of the Taifa Group, named Kichi Taifa, Andrea James, Michael Hurst, and the Honorable Morris Murray. In concluding, let me say that the genesis of this hearing was absolute necessity, and the thousands that languish in prison in our federal system that really warrant this response of a clemency or a pardon. I think what the witnesses have generated today is that there is bipartisan support for a response and for an answer. And so as I conclude, I just want to briefly submit into the record the story of Anthony Todd Robinson, who was an Army officer who was arrested on mistaken identity for sexual assault and spent 27 years in the state system in Texas. He received from then Governor Bush clemency, and he is also now a board certified law graduate and attorney, helping those who are particularly in need. That is Mr. Robinson. And so in addition, Michelle Miles, Israel Torres, Waylon Wilson are all individuals released under this system. They have not contributed to crime. They've contributed to society's best, and they have made an economic contribution to our engine of our economy. We must recognize that there are different times when people were incarcerated and arrested, convicted, and from the time that they come and seek clemency. Very quickly, Mr. Hernandez, you tell a powerful story. And can you just quickly say why you're seeking a pardon?
The reason I'm seeking a pardon is to make me whole again, to give me a chance to be back, as you could say, about my civil rights, whether that's to hold public office or to rent an apartment, to get a certification or a license in the state of Texas.
You are a person today than you were before. Is that correct?
Excuse me, ma'am, what was that?
You're a different person today than you were at the time of your criminal activity.
Oh, yes. Even when I wrote President Obama, I told him I wasn't in a position to tell him I deserved life or freedom. But what I could tell him was that I was a changed person, but that I wasn't that 18-year-old kid that sold drugs over 15 years ago.
All right, thank you. Let me quickly go to Mr. Underwood. Can you explain how clemency can be used to right the wrongs of a tough on crime era? That was an era of really lack of options. No one thought creatively. Yes, drugs were horrible, and I defend those people who at that time felt that was the way to go, but there were no options. And then it lasted forever. Mr. Underwood?
Yes, ma'am. Well, one thing that could do, since look at resentencing, could look at a person and see that they're not the person they were. They can determine, look at resentencing. It's not a get out of jail free card. Or look at resentencing is for a district court judge after thorough vetting of the individual, and look at them and see that they're not who they were when they came in many years ago, and that they're a reformed person and that they can contribute to society as an American citizen.
Thank you. Ms. Taifa, on the issue of Marcus Garvey, let me just add to the point very quickly, the time is running, that many persons fighting social ills were caught up in the criminal justice system. Marcus Garvey, that happened to him, and he deserves the respect of a response of a pardon. Is that your view? Ms. Taifa?
I say absolutely, yes, he definitely deserves a pardon. We need closure to that error in history.
Thank you so very much. Again, I want to thank all the witnesses. The guiding post is that we must do something to reform the clemency and pardon process. This oversight hearing was not a first step. I believe it should be a comprehensive step. We do need to meet with the pardon attorney, with that we do so, and as well, we need to begin to reform this process immediately, for there are too many good mothers and fathers and people who are seeking to do better in this nation. With that, again, my appreciation to all of the members who participated. This concludes today's hearing. Thank you to our distinguished witnesses for attending. Without objection, all members will have 5 legislative days to submit additional written questions for the witnesses or additional materials for the record. And now this